The wrench slipped from my oil-slicked fingers, clattering against the cobblestone driveway like a gunshot in the quiet Andalusian afternoon, just as the first fat raindrop splattered on my forehead. "I can't believe you dragged me all the way to Spain for this rust bucket," I muttered to Athena, wiping my brow with the back of my hand, but she was already halfway across the sun-baked courtyard, her laughter echoing off the whitewashed walls of her family's old finca like it was the punchline to some cosmic joke. And then the door creaked open, spilling shadows and the faint scent of jasmine, revealing a woman whose gaze pinned me in place. Her Aunt Madeline, with eyes like storm-tossed olive branches, whispering, "You fix things, do you? Good. Because this family's been broken longer than that engine." I never imagined that a busted alternator would unravel the threads of my carefully knotted life, but there I was, knee-deep in the guts of Athena's ancient Fiat, cursing under my breath in the sweltering heat of southern Spain. Athena, my best friend since we were gangly teens swapping mixtapes in a Milwaukee garage, had begged me to fly out for her summer of self-discovery. She'd inherited this crumbling estate from her late mother, a sprawling olive grove estate on the outskirts of Ronda, where the mountains clawed at the sky and the air hummed with the ghosts of flamenco dancers long gone. "Come fix the car, Jordan," she texted. "And maybe fix me too." I was the mechanic after all, the one who patched up engines and egos with equal parts grit and grace. At 28, with calluses thicker than my patience for drama, I'd hopped a red-eye from Chicago, landing in Malaga with a toolkit and a heart still raw from my last breakup. Athena greeted me at the airport with a bear hug that smelled of sea salt and cheap sangria, her wild curls tickling my chin. She was 27, all fire and freckles, the kind of woman who could charm a bull into vegetarianism. We'd been inseparable since high school, navigating the awkward terrain of crushes on girls who didn't know better and boys who never measured up. She was the dreamer, I was the doer. But Spain had changed her, or maybe it was the inheritance. The finca was a relic, terracotta roofs sagging under bougainvillea, fountains choked with weeds, and rooms echoing with the absence of her mother, Elena, who'd fled America decades ago for this sun-bleached exile. We rattled up the winding roads in the Fiat, which coughed like a chain smoker the whole way. "It's the alternator," I diagnosed on the spot, ever the fixer. Athena waved it off, chattering about her plans to turn the place into an artist's retreat. Imagine it, Geordie. Poets reciting under the stars, painters capturing the gorge at dawn. And you, my resident handywoman, keeping the magic alive. Her enthusiasm was infectious, but I caught the flicker in her eyes, the one that said she was running from something back home. A failed gallery job in New York? A girlfriend who'd ghosted her after 2 years? She didn't say and I didn't pry. That's how we worked. By midday we'd arrived at the finca, a labyrinth of patios and arched doorways that felt like stepping into a faded postcard. The driveway was a cracked mosaic of terracotta tiles, flanked by lemon trees heavy with fruit. I popped the hood, tools splayed out like surgical instruments, while Athena disappeared inside to fetch refreshments. That's when the rain started. Not the gentle Midwest drizzle I knew, but a Mediterranean downpour that turned the earth to mud in seconds. I scrambled for cover under the Fiat's overhang, laughing at the absurdity, when the door swung open. She emerged like a figure from a Lorca poem. Tall, poised, with the kind of effortless elegance that made you forget your own name. Madeline, Athena's aunt, Elena's younger sister, must have been in her mid-30s, though her face held the timeless quality of women who'd stared down too many sunsets. Her hair was a cascade of chestnut waves, pinned back with a silver comb that caught the light like a secret. She wore a simple linen dress the color of aged parchment, belted at the waist, and her skin glowed with the olive undertone of someone born to this soil. But it was her eyes, sharp green as the gorge below, that stopped me cold. They held a depth, a quiet storm, as if she'd seen the world's cruelties and chosen poetry over bitterness. "You must be Jordan," she said, her voice a low timbre laced with a faint Andalusian lilt, though her English was flawless, American roots peeking through. She extended a hand, her fingers long and ink-stained, like an artist's or a writer's. I took it, feeling the warmth seep into my rain-chilled palm, and something shifted in the air, electric as the storm overhead. "Yeah, that's me. The cavalry." I grinned, trying to shake off the sudden dryness in my throat. "Athena said the car's been acting up. Alternator probably. Easy fix." Madeline's lips curved in a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Ah, the eternal tinkerer. Elena always said Americans fix what can't be mended: cars, hearts, regrets. She glanced at the sky, rain sheeting down around us, then back to me. Come inside before you drown. The garage can wait. I hesitated, tools in hand, but her gaze was insistent, pulling me like the tide. Athena burst out then, balancing a tray of tapas and wine, her energy a whirlwind against Madeline's calm. Auntie, you scared her off already. She thrust a glass of Rioja at me, red as the clay earth. Ignore her brooding. She's the family poet, turns everything into verse. Madeline rolled her eyes fondly. And you're the family tornado. Jordan. Welcome to our particular chaos. We retreated to the covered patio, where the rain drummed a rhythmic tattoo on the tiles. Over plates of jamon and olives, Athena regaled me with tales of her mother's youth. Elena running away to Spain at 19, pregnant with Athena's half-sister, only to lose the baby and bury herself in the finca's solitude. Madeline had followed years later, after her own divorce in Boston, seeking solace in her sister's shadow. We're all strays here, Madeline said softly, her fork pausing midair. This place collects the broken ones. I felt it then, that undercurrent of loss weaving through their words. Athena chattered on, but her laughs rang hollow, and Madeline's silences spoke volumes. As the storm eased into a misty drizzle, I excused myself to tackle the car, but Madeline followed, leaning against the Fiat's fender with arms crossed. Tell me, Jordan, she said, watching me work. What breaks you? Engines are simple. People, not so much. Her question hung there, intimate in the fading light. I tightened a bolt, avoiding her eyes. Exes who promised the moon and deliver dust. You. She laughed, a sound like wind through cypress trees. The same. And family who love you too fiercely to let go. Our gazes met, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to that charged space between us. The rain-slicked metal, the scent of wet earth and her faint jasmine perfume. Athena called from the house then, shattering the moment, but as I drove the repaired Fiat into the garage that evening, I couldn't shake the feeling that Madeline's other plans had already begun. The days blurred into a haze of olive harvests and late-night confessions. Athena threw herself into her retreat idea, sketching logos on napkins and phoning potential investors from New York. I played handywoman, mending fences and faucets, but my thoughts kept drifting to Madeline. She'd set up a studio in the old library, a sunlit room lined with books in Spanish and English, canvases leaning like forgotten dreams. I'd wander in under pretense of fixing a loose shelf, lingering over her half-finished poems scrawled in a leather journal. Lines about fractured skylines and lovers who vanish like smoke. One afternoon, as thunder rumbled in the distance, I found her there, brush in hand, painting the gorge's jagged silhouette. It's alive, I said, nodding at the canvas. Swirls of indigo and gold captured the raw edge of the cliffs, the way the river below carved secrets from stone. She turned, paint smudged on her cheek like war paint. Most things worth loving are. Sit. She patted a stool and I did, watching her work. Her hands moved with a grace that belied the tension in her shoulders. Athena says you're the steady one. The rock. I shrugged, picking at a thread on my jeans. Steady's just code for scared of change. You? You're the one who stayed. Madeline set down the brush, wiping her hands on a rag. Staying isn't always choice. Elena begged me to come after her divorce, said Spain would heal what Boston broke. I was 25, freshly separated from a man who thought poetry was a hobby, not a calling. Thought I'd write the great American novel here. Instead, I buried my sister when cancer took her last year. Now it's just me and the niece who barely knew her mother. Her voice cracked on the last word, and I reached out, my hand covering hers on the table. Her skin was warm, callous from brushes and pens, and she didn't pull away. I'm sorry, I whispered. That kind of loss. It reshapes you. It does. Her eyes searched mine, green depths pulling me under. But sometimes strangers remind you there's shape left to find. The air thickened, charged with unspoken possibilities. Athena's voice echoed from the courtyard then. Dinner's on. And we sprang apart, laughing awkwardly at the interruption. But as we joined her, plates of paella steaming under lantern light, I felt the first stirrings of something dangerous. A pull toward this woman who saw through my armor like it was glass. That night, Sleep evaded me in the guest room with its iron bed and gauzy curtains. The finca whispered secrets, the creak of settling beams, the distant call of nightingales. I rose, padding barefoot to the kitchen for water, only to find Madeline there, silhouetted against the open window, a cigarette glowing like a firefly. She startled at my approach, stubbing it out. "Insomnia's an old friend." "Mine too." I leaned beside her, the cool night air kissing my skin. Below, the gorge yawned black and endless. "What keeps you up?" She hesitated, then. "Memories. Elena and I as girls in Boston dreaming of escapes." She got hers first. I followed, thinking it'd be adventure. Turned out to be Anchor. Her profile was sharp in the moonlight, vulnerable. "And you, Jordan? What anchors you across the ocean?" "You," I said before I could stop it. The word hung bold and unbidden. Her breath caught and she turned, her face inches from mine. For a moment I thought she'd close the gap, her lips parting as if to taste the words. But then Athena's door slammed upstairs, and reality crashed in. Madeline stepped back, murmuring goodnight, leaving me adrift in the dark. The following week unfolded like a slow-burning fuse, each day layering tension atop the fragile peace of the finca. Athena's energy ramped up as her first retreat guests arrived, 3 wide-eyed artists from Barcelona, all paint-splattered dreams and late-night debates over absinthe. I kept busy with repairs, patching the leaky roof over the studio, where Madeline's presence had become my secret refuge. We'd steal moments there, her reading aloud from Lorca while I sanded wood, our knees brushing under the table like accidental promises. "You're good at this," she'd say, tracing a finger along a newly mended beam. "Not just the fixing, the listening." I'd flush, "Tools forgotten." Comes from years of Athena dragging me into her messes. She's got a talent for chaos. Madeline's laugh was rare, a bloom in the desert. Like her mother, Elena could turn a quiet dinner into a manifesto. But shadows would cross her face then, reminders of the void Elena left. Athena, for her part, seemed oblivious, flitting between guests like a hummingbird, her laughter a shield. Yet I noticed the cracks, the way she'd down extra glasses of wine, or stare too long at her mother's old photos, eyes glassy with unspoken grief. One evening, after the artists had retired to their rooms, Athena cornered me in the kitchen, her curls disheveled from the day's whirl. "Jordy, be honest, what do you think of Aunt Mattie? She's been different since you arrived. Softer almost." I busied myself with the dishwasher, suds bubbling like my unease. "She's grieving. We all are, in our way. Spain's just amplifying it." Athena's eyes narrowed, playful but probing. "Grieving, huh? Or is it something else? I see how you two look at each other. Like you're both starving." She hip-checked me, grinning, but there was an edge to it, a flicker of something possessive. We'd always shared everything. Clothes, secrets, even a fumbling kiss at 16 that we'd laughed off as practice. But this felt different, territorial. "Don't be ridiculous," I scoffed, though my pulse betrayed me. "I'm here for you. Not some family romance novel." She deflated then, slumping onto a stool. "Yeah, well, thanks for coming. I don't know what I'd do without you fixing shit." Literally. Her vulnerability cracked the air, and I hugged her, inhaling the familiar scent of her citrus shampoo. "Love you, Tornado. Love you more, Rock." But as she headed upstairs, I wondered if the ground beneath me was as solid as I pretended. The real shift came midweek, during a trip into Ronda proper. Athena insisted on a team-building outing, the 3 of us navigating the town's labyrinthine streets, Puente Nuevo's dizzying bridge spanning the gorge like a stone scar. Madeline, usually reserved, came alive amid the bustle, haggling at a market stall for saffron, her Spanish fluid and flirtatious with the vendor. I trailed behind, toolkit in my rental car's trunk just in case, watching her with a mix of awe and ache. At a tiny cafe overlooking the cliffs, we claimed a table under striped awnings. Athena ordered pitchers of Tinto de Verano, the wine sangria fizzing with lemon and ice. "To new beginnings," she toasted, clinking glasses. Madeline's eyes met mine over the rim, a spark igniting something deep in my chest. As the afternoon waned, Athena wandered off to browse a bookstore, leaving us alone. Madeline leaned in, her voice low. "You've got a way of making the ordinary feel charged. Like that first rain we had." I swallowed, the air between us humming. Must be the company. You're not so ordinary yourself. Her hand brushed mine on the table, deliberate, electric. Careful, Jordan. Some charges spark fires. Before I could respond, she stood, suggesting we fetch Athena. But the touch lingered, a brand on my skin. That night, back at the finca, the storm we'd dodged in town caught up, lightning fracturing the sky. I sought refuge in the studio, finding Madeline there, silhouetted against the window, a half-empty glass of wine in hand. Couldn't sleep? She asked, not turning. Storms do that. I joined her, the thunder rolling like applause for our secrets. She poured me a glass, our fingers grazing. Tell me something true, she said, facing me at last. Why do you really come here? Athena's car? Or something more? The question pinned me raw and real. Both. She's family. But you. From that first look, it's like you saw the parts one hide. The ones that scare me. Madeline's expression softened, vulnerability cracking her poise. I know that fear. After my divorce, I swore off love, too messy, too American in its drama. But Elena always said, Maddie, hearts aren't engines. You can't just rebuild them. Maybe she's right. She stepped closer, the space between us shrinking to breath. What if we tried? Just see what sparks. My heart hammered, the storm outside mirroring the one within. I cupped her face, thumb tracing her jaw, and she leaned in, our lips meeting in a kiss that tasted of wine and rain, tentative at first, then deepening with the hunger of withheld longing. Her hands tangled in my hair, pulling me closer, and for that stolen moment, the world was just us. Two women forging light from thunder. We broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed together. This could ruin everything, I whispered. Or remake it. Her smile was fierce, hopeful. But as we parted, guilt gnawed at me. Athena upstairs, oblivious to the line we'd crossed. The next days were a delicate dance. Stolen glances across the breakfast table. Brushes of hands in the olive grove where I'd help her prune branches. Her laughter freer in my presence. Athena noticed, her jokes turning sharper. You two are like magnets. Careful you don't stick. But beneath it, I sensed her withdrawal. The way she'd linger in conversations with the artists, excluding us, or disappear into long runs along the gorge trails. Then came the betrayal, sharp as a snapped wire. I'd been in the garage, tuning up the Fiat for Athena's upcoming investor pitch in Seville, when my phone buzzed. A text from an old mutual friend back home. Heard Athena's spinning tales about you too. Watch your back. She's always been jealous of what she can't have. Attached was a screenshot from Athena's Instagram story. A photo of me and Madeline in the studio, cropped to look intimate, caption stealing the spotlight. Family drama. My stomach dropped. I confronted her in the courtyard that evening, rain starting to spit again. What the hell, ADH? That post, it's twisting everything. She crossed her arms, chin defiant. Just joking, Jordy. Lighten up. Auntie's been hogging you since day one. It's not a joke if it hurts. My voice rose, thunder in my throat. You're grieving your mom, fine. But don't weaponize it against us. Us. Her eyes flashed, hurt blooming into anger. So it's real? You and her? My Aunt Jordan? The one who judged every girlfriend I brought home. Madeline appeared then, drawn by the raised voices, her face paling as Athena whirled on her. You knew, didn't you? Seducing my best friend under our roof. Mom would hate this. The words landed like blows. Madeline recoiled but held steady. Athena, love isn't seduction. It's survival. After Elena, I thought I'd lost my chance at any of it. Athena laughed bitterly, tears streaking her face. Survival? You're stealing mine. She stormed off, slamming into the house, leaving us in the downpour. I reached for Madeline, but she pulled away. This was a mistake. She's right, we've shattered her world enough. No, I insisted, rain soaking us through. We'll fix this. Together. But as lightning cracked overhead, doubt seated in my chest. Fixing engines was one thing. Mending a family fractured by loss and longing? That might demand a reckoning none of us were ready for. The fallout settled over the finca like a shroud, heavy and suffocating. Athena retreated into icy silence, her artist's retreat grinding to a halt as she canceled the Seville trip with a curt email. Personal matters. The guests trickled away, murmuring apologies, leaving the estate echoing with unspoken accusations. I tried bridging the gap, leaving notes under her door, brewing her favorite chamomile tea, but she'd respond with slammed doors or pointed stares across the dinner table, where Madeline and I sat like bookends to her fury. Madeline bore it with stoic grace, throwing herself into her painting, canvases blooming with turbulent seascapes that mirrored her turmoil. "She's always been the sun," she confessed one night, as we walked the moonlit grove, lanterns swinging from branches like fireflies. "I was the shadow. Now I've eclipsed her." "You're not eclipsing," I countered, linking my arm through hers. The contact grounded us, a quiet rebellion against the chill. "You're just visible. She'll see that." But doubt crept in like fog from the gorge. Late nights found me pacing the guest room, replaying Athena's words. "Mom would hate this." Elena's photos lined the mantel, fierce-eyed, arms around a young Athena and toddler Madeline, all three laughing in a Boston snowstorm. Had I misread the signs? Was this romance a bomb or a blade? The breaking point came 2 weeks later, during the annual Rhonda Harvest Festival. Athena had insisted we go. "For normalcy," she'd said tersely, her first olive branch. The town square pulsed with life. Vendors hawking figs and almonds, guitars strumming Belarius that set feet tapping. We wandered as a fractured trio, Athena linking arms with me like old times, Madeline trailing with a basket of fresh-baked pan de pueblo. Under strings of lights as dancers whirled in polka-dot dresses, Athena pulled me aside. "Dance with me, Jordy. Like in Milwaukee at that stupid prom." Her eyes pleaded, vulnerable beneath the bravado. How could I refuse? We spun into the crowd, her laughter bubbling up genuine for the first time in days, my hands on her waist familiar as breathing. From the sidelines Madeline watched, her face a mask of composure. But when I caught her eye, pain flickered there, raw, unguarded. Guilt twisted in me like a loose bolt. As the song ended, Athena hugged me tight. "See? We don't need her drama. We're enough." The words stung, a subtle poison. I extricated myself gently, finding Madeline by a fountain, splashing water over her face. "You okay?" She straightened, forcing a smile. "Old wounds. Seeing you too. It reminds me I'm the interloper." "You're not." I took her hands, cool from the water. "This us, it's real. But Athena's hurting. We have to include her, not choose sides." Her grip tightened. "And if she never forgives? If this costs her you?" The question hung unanswered, as fireworks erupted overhead, painting the sky in bursts of gold and crimson. In that explosive light I saw our futures fracturing. Athena's sun dimmed by resentment, Madeline's shadow deepening with isolation, my steady rock crumbling under the weight. Back at the finca, the tension boiled over. Athena, tipsy from festival wine, cornered us in the library. "I found your journal, Aunt Mattie." She waved the leather tome, pages fluttering like wounded birds. "All those entries about Jordan." Her laugh mends what words can't. "Disgusting. You're twice her age, preying on my friend." Madeline went still, color draining from her face. "That's private, Athena. My heart, not your weapon." "My heart's been weaponized plenty." Athena hurled the book at the wall, spine cracking. "Mom left me this place, not you. You swoop in, play the grieving sister, then steal the one person who gets me. It's betrayal pure, American-style backstabbing." I stepped between them, voice steady despite the quake inside. "Stop. This isn't about theft. Your mom's gone and it sucks, God it sucks. But lashing out at us won't bring her back. Madeline's family. I'm your friend. We can grieve together, not tear each other apart." Athena's eyes welled, defiance crumbling. "You don't get it. Mom warned me about you, Aunt Mattie, said you always take what's mine. Toys as kids, now this." She choked on a sob, fleeing to her room. Madeline sank into a chair, head in hands. "She's right in a way. Elena and I. We competed for scraps of love after our parents split. I came here to help, not haunt." I knelt before her, tilting her chin up. "You're not haunting. You're healing. And so are we." Our kiss was desperate, salt-tinged with tears, a vow against the storm. But as I held her, I knew the real tempest was Athena's pain, festering like an untreated wound. The next morning dawned brittle, mist cloaking the gorge. Athena was gone, note on the table, gone to Seville early. Sell the damn finca if you want. I'm done with ghosts. Panic surged. I'd seen that look in her eyes before, the one before her New York spiral. Madeline and I drove after her, the Fiat humming smoothly under my repairs, radio crooning old Joan Baez tunes that twisted the knife. We found her in a Seville cafe, staring into an untouched café con leche, sketchpad blank. Athena, Madeline said softly, sliding into the seat opposite. I hung back, giving them space. Athena looked up, weary. What do you want? Forgiveness? For screwing my best friend. Madeline leaned forward, unflinching. Truth. I loved your mother. Fiercely as my sister, my mirror. But she was the sun, yes, and I the shadow. When she died, I thought I'd fade too. Then Jordan came and light returned. Not to eclipse you, but to share. You're her daughter, my son now. Athena's lip trembled. I miss her so much it hurts. And seeing you too. It feels like losing more. Madeline reached across, hand open. Then let us hold the hurt with you. No stealing. Just family. Tears spilled and Athena took the hand, a dam breaking. I joined them, arms around both, the cafe's murmur fading to our shared breaths. It wasn't fixed, not yet, but the fracture had a bridge. Yet the high didn't last. That night, back in Rhonda, Athena confessed over wine. I posted that story out of spite. Jealousy. But there's more, Mom's will. She left the finca split. Half to me, half to Aunt Mattie. But there's a clause. If we don't agree on its use within a year, it sells. I wanted the retreat to honor her. Mattie wants to keep it as is, a memorial. The revelation hit like brakes on black ice. Madeline paled. She never told me the details. I thought. You thought wrong. Athena's voice hardened. It's not just grief, it's greed. You want it for your poetic solitude. While I build something real. Accusations flew, old wounds reopening. I mediated, but the divide widened. Athena's vision of revival clashing with Madeline's reverence for stasis. As arguments escalated, I felt the pull. Torn between the woman who'd ignited my heart and the friend who'd anchored my youth. The finca, once sanctuary, became battlefield. In the dead of night, unable to sleep, I slipped out to the gorge's edge, wind whipping my hair. Footsteps crunched behind me, Madeline, shawl clutched tight. Can't let you brood alone. I turned, tears hot on my cheeks. This is tearing us apart. Maybe I should go. Let you two sort it. Her arms encircled me from behind, chin on my shoulder. No. You fixed the car that brought you here. Fix this us. We stood like that, stars wheeling above, the river's roar a lullaby to our fears. But as dawn crept in, Athena's silhouette appeared on the path, watching. The triangle closed, fraught with fragile hope and looming betrayal. The will's claws hung over us like a guillotine, sharpening every interaction into suspicion. Athena pored over legal papers in the library, her sketches now blueprints for a modernized finca, solar panels on the roofs, guest cottages amid the groves. It's progress, she'd argue, eyes flashing. Mom would have wanted life here, not stagnation. Madeline countered with quiet fury, her paintings darkening to bruised purples and grays. Progress erases history. Elena planted those trees with her own hands, sweat and stories in every root. Sell it and we sell her memory. I played referee, my mechanic's logic failing against emotional gears that wouldn't mesh. Nights with Madeline were oases, whispers in the studio, her body curling into mine under threadbare quilts, our love a defiant flame. You're my constant, she'd murmur, fingers tracing my collarbone. In this chaos, you're home. But guilt shadowed our intimacy, Athena's door a barrier between us. She'd taken to sleeping in the old carriage house, avoiding the main house's ghosts. Our group meals dissolved into solo plates, conversations clipped as wire. I missed her, the easy banter, the inside jokes that spanned decades. Once, catching her sketching alone, I sat beside her. Talk to me, ADH. Before this swallows us. She slammed the pad shut. Talk? You mean defend why I'm fighting for my inheritance? While you cozy up to the woman who wants to hoard it. Hurt laced her words. Jealousy morphing into something uglier. You chose her, Geordie. Over me. I chose love. I shot back, voice breaking. But you're still family. Don't make me choose again. She stormed off, but later that night a knock at my door. Athena, eyes red-rimmed. clutching a bottle of Elena's aged sherry. Truce. We sat on the floor, passing the bottle, stories spilling like the amber liquid, childhood escapades, Elena's wild tales of bull runs and midnight swims. For hours, laughter bridged the chasm, her head on my shoulder. I don't hate you, she whispered finally. I hate feeling alone in this. You're not. I held her sisterly, now the line redrawn. But as she left, I glimpsed Madeline in the hall, face ashen. Had she overheard? The seed of doubt took root. The climax erupted on a blistering August afternoon, the gorge shimmering like molten silver. Athena had invited a notary from Rhonda to discuss options, hoping to force compromise. Madeline and I arrived from town, arms laden with market finds, fresh figs, manchego cheese for a neutral lunch. But the air crackled, tempers frayed by heat. The notary, a dour man in a linen suit, spread documents on the patio table. The clause is clear. Joint decision or auction in 3 months. Proposals. Athena launched in. Renovate for the retreat, ecolodges, art classes. Revenue sustains it forever. Madeline's rebuttal was poetry turned blade. Or preserve as memorial, open gardens, Elena's library intact. No commercialization, just quiet honor. Voices rose, accusations flying. Selfish. Athena spat. You're clinging to death. Reckless. Madeline countered. You're bulldozing her soul for Instagram likes. I intervened. Stop, listen. Hybrid. Retreat with sacred spaces. Memorial wing, revenue for upkeep. Elena lives in both. Silence fell, tentative nods. But Athena's eyes narrowed at Madeline. Only if she signs over her half. Prove you're not hoarding. Madeline recoiled. It's not hoarding, it's legacy. The notary cleared his throat awkwardly. Perhaps a mediator. But Athena wasn't done. In a voice like shattering glass, she revealed the bomb. I know about the letter, Aunt Mattie. Mom's last one, to her lawyer. She wrote it after you visited last Christmas. Said you confessed to borrowing money from her accounts. Thousands, for your writing sabbatical in Madrid. She forgave it, but the will split was her way of protecting me from you. The world tilted. Madeline's face crumpled, denial dying on her lips. It was a loan, Athena. I paid it back, every cent, with interest from my Boston royalties. Elena knew. She trusted me. Lies. Athena's voice broke, betrayal's full bloom. The lawyer showed me the records, unresolved. You preyed on her weakness, just like you're preying on Jordan now. I stared at Madeline, heart fracturing. Is it true? Tears streamed down her face. The money? Yes, but repaid. Elena understood. My publisher folded. Elena offered help. It was sisterly, not theft. She turned to me, pleading. Jordan, believe me. I've never taken what's not mine, except maybe this chance with you. But Athena's sobs shattered the air. Get out. Both of you. The finca's mine now. I'll fight the will if I have to. The notary packed his papers, murmuring condolences, as storm clouds gathered. Madeline fled to the studio, slamming the door. I followed Athena to the carriage house, finding her curled on the cot, shaking. She lied to us all, she whispered. Mom warned me. I held her, rocking gently. We'll get the truth. But don't let this poison you. Yet inside, trust eroded like gorge rock under rain. Confronting Madeline that evening was agony. She sat amid her canvases, brushes abandoned, eyes hollow. The letter's real, she admitted, voice a thread. But the debt's clear, bank statements in my drawer. Elena and we had our messes. She hid her cancer diagnosis from me for months, thinking it'd burden my artistic soul. Forgiveness was our pact. I rifled the drawer, statements confirming her words. Repaid in full, Elena's note attached. For my shadow sister. Shine on. Relief flooded me, but the damage lingered. Why hide it? Fear. Of losing you both. She stood, vulnerable. I came here for Elena, stayed for Athena. Fell for you because you saw the light in my shadows. We embraced, tears mingling, but Athena's betrayal, her rush to judgment, left scars. The next days were negotiations. Lawyers verifying docs, Athena's apologies tearful and raw. I was scared, she confessed over a final patio dinner, papers signed for the hybrid plan. Of losing the finca, Mom, you. Jealousy made me blind. Fear blinds us all, Madeline said, extending a hand. Athena took it, the circle closing. As harvest waned, leaves turning gold, I prepared to leave. Back to Chicago, engines waiting. The airport drive was bittersweet. Athena at the wheel of the Fiat, now purring reliably. You fixed more than the car, she said, hugging me fierce. Don't be a stranger. Madeline walked me to security, her hand in mine. This isn't goodbye. Spain's your anchor now too. Our kiss was public, unashamed. Passengers blurring into irrelevance. Write me poems, I whispered. I'll fix the world one line at a time. Months later, invitations arrived. The Finca's grand opening, retreat, and memorial entwined. I flew back, toolkit packed, heart full. Athena greeted me with a grin, arm linked in Madeline's. Our sun, shadow, and rock, she teased. Under the stars that night, as poets recited and lanterns glowed, I danced with them both. First Athena, wild and free. Then Madeline, slow and deep. The gorge whispered below. Secrets healed into harmony. Love, I'd learned, wasn't a fix but a forge. Bending breaks into something stronger, more luminous. In Spain's embrace, we'd remade our worlds. Not perfect but profoundly ours.